You want me to be serious?
Maybe a little. We've got a great line of new foam stamps and some fun projects for you today.
Good stuff. So, this is our...
So, buttons on your father's underwear.
Oh, there's
You're from New England, you've heard that.
There's the New England accent. Yeah, can we start again?
Ready?
Yeah, sure.
It's For the Birds, foam stamps, take 9.
100.
Action.
This is our first video. We are together in mid to late May, and we have something that kind of came out of the blue. Elizabeth designed a set of stencils and masks, or technically they're masks, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago anyway, named For the Birds. And there are 4 of them. And I got this brilliant idea that we should make them foam stamps, and that's what we did. So there are 4, and she'll tell you the names in the video because right now I can't remember.
Right.
But how cool are these? So the original stencils masks were in a 5x7 format, and I made these a little bit smaller so that if you work on an A7, which is about 5x7 card, these will fit on there, which is what Elizabeth is going to show you. She'll talk about using woodies, and honestly, I got to watch her, and it was really enjoyable to see her having so much fun playing with them. I did create this. There we go. I wanted you to see that you're not limited to, obviously, a card. This is a small journal that is about 5x7, and it works just fine in there, too. So lots of good stuff, easy to use. And this one, it's really about the journey. It's about the coloring and the playing, more so than, or at least for me and watching you, than actually the end product.
Yeah, it was fun just to like doodle and color with them. They are a little bit smaller, right, than the original stencils, so they work really well on the 5x7 card blanks. So let's show them how to do it.
Let's go do it.
All right.
All right.
So we have these new foam stamp designs. They were so much fun. They are so much fun with all the fun line work and their wonky personalities and such. I really enjoyed them. So I'm excited to have them as foam stamps. So this one is Carl, and this one is Leonard, and this one is Stella, and this one is Janice. So we have colored them with Stabilo Woodies so that you can see the designs off of the black background on the camera. But today we are using them with ink pads to create cards. So I just want to say a word about ink pads. These are kind of cool. These are new. They're pigment ink, and they're permanent, and they're oil based. So they're basically archival ink pads. And what I like about using these is you can set up on your kitchen table and you can use the foam stamps with the ink pad, and you don't have to take out the gel plate and the brayer and the paint and make a bigger mess, which we all love making a mess sometimes, right, Barb?
Some of us just do it out of habit, yes.
Right. So the mess making is a lot of fun, but for the time when you have 1 hour to yourself and you want to sit and make 2 or 3 cards or 4 or 5 cards, this just is beautiful color. It's opaque, it's vibrant, and it's going to be a lot easier to use and clean up than your paint when you're pinched for time or workspace. So I was excited about that today. So, I did 2 different kinds of cards. The first one that I did, I had fun with them, and I created, this is an envelope. And I'm sure the mailman is probably not going to be happy about this envelope, but he'll have to get over himself. Because how fun is this with the talk bubble? So I told Barb we're going to call these the Bird is the Word series, right? So I colored in all the color I added with Stabilo Woodies. And I like them because they're opaque. They go over the brown craft. You can't see through them. And they give you kind of a drawing material edge. So they look colored, like a little bit like crayon. So this is going to Barb at Anytown, USA. And then here's another envelope that I did with a fun talk bubble. And in this one, I just mimicked the pattern of the foam stamp, some of the shapes from the stamp. And I made another envelope for the card. And then I made, to go with those, I did a vertical card with the Bird is the Word. Have you heard? So I leave them blank so I can send them for any occasion. But then this one, I did a thinking of you card, and I did some more of the clouds and the Stabilo woodies. So I intentionally did these vertical and the to go into the horizontal envelope. So I'm using a partial bird and a partial. So that was a fun project. I think I'm going to send these out, except for I've already addressed all the envelopes to Barb at some random address. But you know, it's the thought that counts. Okay, then. So those are fun. So then Barb made me a beautiful roll-off sheet or gel plate printed kind of abstract backgrounds. And she just printed a whole bunch of these, which you could do. And then I had fun stamping on those and using the Stabilo woodies to pick up the colors from the background. So you can see I did a bunch of scribbling on here and I added some grass and I brought in the woodies to pick up the color of the background. So I'll show you how I did that. So these are kind of painterly and colorful and completely different than the bird is the word. So I just wanted to show you so that you could see how you can get two different looks, two different effects, two different kinds of cards with the same materials. So here is my roll-off beautiful gel printed background by Barb. And I am gonna, for the brown craft ones that I showed you from the bird is the word, I used the Portobello and the sand dune because those are kind of earthy tones to go with the brown craft. And for this, I think I'm going to use, there's some other colors here. There's a couple of different purples and there's this beautiful teal color. This is called Warm Breeze. And this one is called Hawthorn Rose, and this one is called Monarch. And I'm thinking I probably could use the Hawthorn Rose over this, one of these two, but I'm going to use the Hawthorn Rose, and I'm going to use Janice. And
if I'm remembering correctly, you mentioned new earlier. There were, I think, 10 or 12 new colors released in this line in... let me think about this. This is May as we film this. I want to say it's been a couple of months anyway, and Hawthorn Rose was one of the new colors. So,
it's a new color.
Yeah, way to go you.
Yes, well, I like purple. I really do. So, okay, let's get this out of the way. So I'm going to use the ink pad to dab the color onto Janice, and I've been guilty of pressing too much ink on here. These pads are really juicy, and I was adding too much to them and then stamping them, and they were smudgy, I guess you would say. So go easy with the ink pad. And then I'm going to put, you could put Janice off to the side. You can put her at an angle, up or down. Nothing says you always have to put everything right dead center, Barb,
This is true. And sometimes off center, a kilter, a skew, it has its own interest too.
It's nice, yeah. So I'm going to angle Janice here on a slight diagonal. And then I'm going to make sure I apply pressure out to the points and the feet and the top of the head, because sometimes if you just concentrate all your pressure in the middle of the foam stamp, you don't get all the detail. Okay, hopefully this is a good print, Barb, because we're live on camera. That's good. It's not dark though, is it? It's kind of light. So
it lends it a little bit more subdued effect. I think if you'd gone with the Monarch Purple or Monarch whatever it's called, I think it would have been much, much deeper. But
well, let's try that. Monarch Purple. You know what? We could edit this out, but it's good to show you that sometimes you got to try more than once. Now, I don't know. You can always try stamping it off on a piece of paper first and see how dark it is. I could have done that, but I didn't. I jumped right in, Barb.
Both feet. Into the deep end of the pool.
Always, yes. And by the way, these card blanks and envelopes are also available from JOGGLES, and we are working on the brown craft here, but there's also white and any other color?
Right now, that's it.
Okay.
We do have some, these are A7 cards and envelopes. We do have A7 envelopes in lots of different colors. So if you want to juice yours up with bright, Astro Bright colors, then we have those too.
Yeah, you could put this in a pink envelope. Yep. Okay, so we're going for the Monarch now. Second time's a charm. We're angling Janice on the diagonal. Oh, I just shifted her a little bit. Boy, this is going to be fun.
I won't tell if you don't.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, so that's better. Darker, more contrast. Okay, so we're just going to fold that one under and pretend we never did it. Okay, it's like many other things in life. And so I have added some details with the Posca pen. I used this PC1MR black fine point for all of this doodly stuff that I did here. And on the envelopes and everything, I use this. But I think here on this one, I'm going to stick with the Stabilo woodies. So I picked up colors that Barb has in here. And so whatever you make your roll-off sheet, the concept behind this was that I would grab this color. Of course, that needs to be sharpened. Who's in charge of sharpening woodies?
Somebody who needs to be fired, evidently.
And that's not the same color, is it? No, it's okay.
Well,
I use this one.
So the thing with woodies, and I'm just going to stick my hand in from the other side here. The thing with woodies is that they are these big fat crayons, which means they need a specialty sharpener. And look, you did it yourself. I'm so proud.
I did it myself. Look at that. Yeah, this is a proprietary sharpener, and I always tell my students, buy the set of the woodies rather than buying the individual pencils, because when you get a set, you get this with it, right?
Yes, but they are available separately.
They are available separately, but they're kind of pricey. So I think you're better off buying the set. That's just my 2 cents.
Then we should listen to you, right?
For whatever that's worth. Okay, so I'm gonna use this color because very similar to that, and I'm gonna just bring in some scribblies. That's what I did on the other ones. So I did a little bit of that. I brought it into the bird a little bit, and then over here I found some pink, and I just went for kind of a little artsy effect here. I had the gold is nice. This is a metallic. And I think that picked up some of these colors real nice. And you can layer them. So here I'm doing the gold over the pink. I found that out by accident, Barb. All right. And look, it really, you can layer them. And so they kind of visually blend a little bit that way. Like I could put this pink over that blue.
You know, it's interesting. These are marketed by Stabilo as a child's product, but they do so many things really well, and you and I have used them at various times over the years and always been really satisfied with the results.
Oh gosh, I love them. Honestly, I do. Because they're opaque, so they're going completely over. You can see this is going completely over a darker color. So how fun is that? So I'm just picking up, and then I'm gonna use, let's see, we stamped this in the dark purple. So I'm gonna add a little bit of grass down here, kind of in a color similar to what we stamped. And then I had fun just putting a little color in that. You know, this is just like having fun, and then making a few cards, you know, to have on hand, because it seems like there's a birthday like around every corner, Barb.
Well, and you are so much better than me when it comes to actually doing things like sending cards for birthdays and other important life events. I just mentally think, yep, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And I carry on with what I'm doing, but you actually send the cards.
I do. And I like making them in advance. Okay, let's just be honest. Nobody wants to have to pull all this out to make a card 2 days before your birthday. So, and then send it, right? So I like to just sit here and make 10 or 12 or 15 cards, and then just have them in the inventory, you know? Oh, look at that. It looks like he has a cloud hat.
You know,
we're going to put one over here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Janice.
No.
She has a cloud hat.
That's all right. From my perspective, as I've been playing around and doing various things, I will say that I know you were having a good time doing this. I could tell by your reactions and what we were talking about, and I could hear it in your voice that you really had a good time playing around with this. And that's something to consider. Everything we make doesn't have to be great art. It just needs sometimes to be a joyous process.
And that's absolutely it. Sorry to interrupt you, but it is about the joy of the process. Exactly. I was just going to say, I'm just having fun coloring here right now. Like, this is just fun, right?
Well, we spend so much time worrying about doing the right thing or the correct thing that I think sometimes we lose sight of let's just enjoy the journey for a minute.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm as guilty of that as the next person. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that, but that doesn't mean that you can't stop and color a little bit.
Color a little bit, and like, you know, and then come out the other end with something, you know, that you can share with somebody else. So I think it's kind of fun, and I just had fun. I don't color the whole thing in. I just do like a few pieces and parts of it, then leave the rest of it stamped so we can take advantage of this beautiful background. But I just wanted to show you how I just scribble out here with some colors that I find in the background. And I like, you know, the idea of emphasizing the colors that Barb created back there. So that's it. That's my Janice colorful card from the new 1, 2, 3, 4 stamp designs. and, you know, keeping it simple using a stamp pad, and then, you know, making a matching envelope. So, you know, we could get into that too. Basically the same process. So stamp Janice or a different one, kind of coming in from the side, and add some woodies, and then you end up with, you don't even have to do these talk bubbles, but you get, you know, then you can just do the bird if you don't think that's fun. But who doesn't think that's fun?
Right.
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 All right, then. I guess that's it.
It's
right?
a good it.
It's good. It is.
Okay.
All right. All right. So for the birds, foam stamps was a lot of fun in the process. And, you know, maybe someday Barb will send me a card.
Don't hold your breath.
Well, we still had fun.
Yeah, it's the thought that counts. I'm thinking of sending a card. It's good enough.
It's good enough.
All right.
All right. We'll see you back here next week.
Bye.